Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, of course, taped live at Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. That's right, we're on the road to Emergence, I think, is the Ultimate Insider pay-per-view.
In a month's time, yeah.
We're going to be talking about some NXT UK, where we saw a new champion crowned. We'll tell you what that situation was, and there was a big return at the end of the show as well, which was wildly fun. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to end up well with that situation. Cody Rhodes gave us an update on his recovery and how it's going. And an NXT star might be getting called up sooner than later. But first, we got to rewind on yesterday's episode, Larson. What's going on with that?
So yesterday, to recap, we did a special edition of News Brief. We don't usually do videos on Thursdays. We focus everything on Smash Zone. But this story was so massive that we did a news brief on it.
Yeah.
The story is this. Andrew Zarian reported that Monday Night Raw, which has been TV PG since 2008, was switching to TV-14 starting July 18th. That is this upcoming Monday's edition of Raw. Not long after our video went up, however, Zarian issued a follow-up tweeting, quote, "This is a wild situation. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. WWE Raw won't be going to TV-14 on July 18th, but still in consideration for a later date." He continued in a second tweet, "There was a memo within USA Network that went out this morning regarding WWE Raw changing to TV-14 on July 18th. Apparently that was sent out prematurely, and the day was not finalized." Shortly thereafter, Fightful Select reported that there had been conflicting messages about USA Network, within USA Network, about the rating change, and none of the sources that Fightful had spoken to had heard about any impending change. As of yet, Fightful also reports they've not heard about any, quote, specific edict or direction change when it comes to WWE Creative in relation to a ratings change. And finally here, in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer added that, quote, "A source in the company said that it looks to be a USA decision and not a WWE decision. The fact that it came from a USA internal memo would also indicate that." So according to Meltzer, shift in rating seemingly, if this is correct, is at the behest of USA Network and maybe not WWE.
There's I got some questions, but none of them we can. It's honestly it's all kind of boring stuff. And like the thing about the Fightful Select, deeper in their article, it was basically reiterating the point several times over that there's no desire for a creative change in relation to this TV-14 situation. Now, you and I had speculated that maybe if there are certain restrictions that had now been lifted, perhaps the writing team could then take advantage of that and pitch things that maybe they previously knew would get shot down and now maybe not. That's just speculation on our part. But yeah, kind of interesting to see how this plays out. I get the feeling that the actual answer behind all this is probably really boring. Maybe at best it's something along the lines of, well, our policy on cursing is a little inconsistent, because sometimes people, even within the same context, they'll allow people to say shit or they'll bleep it. And maybe lifting that will just take some of the inconsistency therein out of the equation. That's one of the only things. And again, that's wild speculation on my part because it is inconsistent. Sometimes they'll beep the word shit and sometimes they won't. So I don't know. Maybe USA wants to take the shackles off and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it'd be a little edgier. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know how a show's rating improves their chances of with sponsors and advertisers. I don't know if that matters, but also in the Fightful write-up, it says here that when it comes to TV ratings, unlike when a movie is rated R, it's because it's gone through a process of being evaluated by the MPAA, and they give the rating. In this Fightful Select write-up here, it says TV shows kind of rate themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
and there,
so, and there's not much in the way of oversight. In terms of obviously you could get some pushback and some fallout if you kind of push the boundaries of your TV rating from sponsors. And Fightful notes this here, but like there's not a governing body that regulates.
The FCC
TV
does that
ratings.
with networks.
Yes.
On cable, there is no equivalent. So you can, I mean, that's why, excuse me, on cable, you can have like an episode. I think there might have been like an episode of Breaking Bad where somebody said, was fuck used a lot in Breaking Bad? I
watched 2 episodes of the new season of What We Do in the Shadows, and they said fuck a lot.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, we watched the first one last night. I feel like I don't know how it's gonna go with them opening up this vampire club, because then you get into too plot heavy stuff. But it's honestly, when it's just them in the house, it's sharp as hell. It is so damn clever. Like it felt like seasons 1 and 2. But we can talk about that later. I really liked it. Anyways, you could do whatever. Cable networks can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
they could do whatever they want. They often choose not to. They often choose to toe a certain line because of, like you said, sponsors.
Yeah, and usually if a show, I don't know exactly what time. I feel like What We Do in the Shadows is on after 9.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think, but yeah, like.
And FX is typically the home for stuff that's a bit more edgy too.
Anyway. Yeah. There was usually even in prime time, cable television shows will adhere to a more, I don't want to say family friendly per se, but they usually reserve the edgier programming till after 10, after prime time. Mm-hmm. And that's when you'll get a lot more cussing and so on. Mm-hmm. But usually during prime time, even on cable television, even though there's not a regulatory body regulating it, they usually adhere to, relatively speaking, similar standards that network television would.
Mm-hmm,
with a few exceptions. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, even Meltzer in the newsletter, his speculation, what it would just be in terms of more cussing, if anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it seems like anybody who is reporting on this seems to be of the opinion we're not going to see wholesale changes.
Yeah. Which is kind of, look, I know that's boring, but it's kind of where we landed yesterday on speculation. Yeah. Anyways.
Because there's basically at this juncture really not a whole lot of incentive for them to change their programming because it's making the company a ton of money.
Well, the point also that Sean made in the Fightful Select article was generally speaking, I always joke about NXT being the horniest wrestling show on TV because they do some stuff that would be considered salacious. Now, and they do it all under the TV PG category rating. So yeah, they can sort of probably do what they want. If they probably wanted to have Eddie Guerrero JBL levels of blood, I don't know. USA might object to that. They might not. TNT and TBS seem to be fine with it over there on AEW, because there are some times where it's like they start to get to that territory. Some of those Mox matches, he's just drenched in blood.
Yeah,
boy, that Eddie JBL one was nasty though.
Yeah, that was.
So yeah, so it's probably a whole lot of nothing. But if they do end up changing it, completely expect us to revisit this topic with the same amount of fanfare and sensationalism as we did yesterday.
Definitely.
Did you like my thumbnail yesterday?
Yeah, that was really good.
I was proud of myself. I had bleeding Stone. I had Stone Cold Steve. It wasn't even from a Raw. It was from WrestleMania.
I know, WrestleMania 13. His match against Bret Hart, bleeding all over the place.
And then the live sex show and Vince there in the foreground. Yeah.
Yep.
Blood and guts.
Let's talk about this. So we might be getting NXT star coming up to the main roster. So we talked about this in our NXT recap this week. Seemed kind of odd that Solo Sikoa wrestled to a double countout against Von Wagner. Solo is well liked amongst the NXT universe. He's one of the top fan favorites there in NXT 2.0. Yet, this always kind of felt like a start-and-stop push with Solo. And we might have an explanation as to why that is, thanks to Louis Dangor. Louis tweeted today, quote, "I've been told that more likely than not, Solo Sikoa will be on the main roster after SummerSlam on July 30th. Not decided whether or not he'll be paired with the Usos, his real-life brother. Worth noting that real life brothers. Worth noting that Sean Ross Sapp initially reported Solo was in talks for a call-up and back on July 1st, Fightful Select. Indeed reported there had been, quote, serious discussions about bringing Solo up to the main roster. In that same report, Fightful Select notes that there was even conversations of Solo bypassing NXT altogether.
Yeah,
when they brought him in. So.
Yeah, I've really liked the work of Solo Sikoa. I've even loved how they packaged him as sort of the lone scrappy fighter from the island. You know, I thought that stuff was really great. And yeah, man, add another member to the bloodline, have him go after a mid-card title, or have him be another bloodline hunter. Maybe he's like, hey, you guys have left me out, and I'm not into that. That'd be cool too.
It would be cool because you got to expect the Usos are probably going to beat Street Profits at SummerSlam. They're running out of competition, kind of, unless they come back to Usos versus New Day. But they're in a thing with Viking Raiders now, so that seems like that's gonna be going on for a little bit. Mm-hmm. The Usos, like when the bloodline storyline is really good, it has to do with the personal relationships between the members.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And if you have Solo come up and Usos are like, come on, join up with us, and you still got a little bit of resentment towards them, that could be some good stuff.
Well, he could be like, you two are bitches. Like, he's their brother. He's like, I'm not going to fucking acknowledge anybody. What are you guys doing? You guys look like assholes over there. Yeah, that could be a lot more fun. That could be a really great way to start him on his path before he inevitably acknowledges the tribal chief and falls in line, which is what everybody really should be doing. But no, I think that could be, they could do a lot of cool stuff. Or they could do this. Remember that awesome story beat when Eric Redbeard and NWO Eric Redbeard were in the same room, and Daniel Bryan was like,
everybody in that room looked really confused.
They could recreate that. Roman is there. They've got like this guy attacking like the bloodline, and they sit him down, and somebody had said, oh, it was Jey Uso, because Solo looks like an Uso. he looks like, it's like you see him on the street, it's like, oh, Jimmy, no, Jay, which one are you? So you can sit him down. They take like the mask off, and it's just like another Uso, and everybody's very confused, and then they drop it completely. Oh, that was the funniest thing.
Oh, that was so.
And
I know that was
never picked it back up. God, that was funny. Wasn't that somebody like attacking? Was it like Roman or something? He was like attacking?
Yeah, somebody. I think it was Roman. Yeah,
was it Roman?
Remember there was that spell? I think where Roman was getting mysteriously attacked. And that was around the same time that Buddy Murphy just happened to be kind of lingering in the backstage when they were shooting something, and they were like, "Oh, let's try to bring Buddy," because he and Roman had a good match.
Oh man,
yeah.
God, that was funny. He was just back there on his phone, and then they're like, "Oh, must be Buddy." I'm like, "Yeah, like WWE's just that clever to have something so subtle in the background as a hint." They don't do that, people.
No, they don't. Anyways, complete accident. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Steve.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
You paying attention to me?
Yes, I am.
All right, good. I got a question for you. What do you do to take care of your brain?
My brain?
Your brain.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I wear like a beanie in the cold to keep it nice and warm, keep it nice and cooking in there.
All right. But, how we care for our brains can affect how we experience life, so it's important to take the time and care necessary to keep our brains and minds healthy. I mean, there are a ton of ways you can support your brain health. You could learn a new language. You could take a power nap.
Well, I could take a power nap right now? Because I do that a lot.
Not this moment.
Oh.
But you do take a lot of naps. I know that's definitely true. Or you could try BetterHelp Online Therapy. There was a time in my life when I was dealing with severe anxiety. And so I've been through the process of trying to find a therapist. I know how tough it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp Online Therapy makes that process so much more convenient by offering video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions.
That's right. BetterHelp can get you matched up with a therapist in less than 48 hours. and it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. Before we move on, I wanted to mention this. We have a Patreon if you wanted to help support Going In Raw. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. I talked the other day about how you can get the show ad-free in the audio realm. If you're tired of those pesky advertisements that help support Going In Raw, you can get the show without those. $5 a month gets you that show ad-free. This one. It gets you also bonus content every week. Numbers Don't Lie and Overrun as well. We put up questions threads for all the recap shows that we do. And then also at $20, some of y'all don't know this. You get the you get the Friendo Care Package. It comes with, among other things, we get an 8x10. Look at these adorable. This is like from 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't have that much hair anymore.
You want a 2019 picture of Steven Larson? We'll sign that shit. You got to get your ass over here. We'll take a new one, man. You can get
to a certain degree. I like that being like the primary public image of old Larson.
Yeah, we both look good in this. Why bother changing it?
Exactly.
Right?
If it's good enough, then why bother?
Right. I got a Friendo Club sticker. At the $50, you get a nice fancy Friendo Club sticker,
holographic,
and you get a fancy Friendo Club T-shirt, which I don't have. Wait, it's like a spot back there. You can barely see it. It's like blue and kind of rust orange. And then also the crowning achievement here is the old Going In Raw. I had this comic book. I have no idea how we're wearing shirts that don't even exist anymore in our merch shops. There's probably all sorts of weird jokes in here.
It's quite a relic in there from I don't know, 5 years ago. But the story within is a story that can only be told within the pages of the comic. It would cost way too much money to make this into a major motion picture.
This is
don't
great
expect
too.
That to ever happen.
On the back of it, there's an ad for our Pro Wrestling Tees merch shop. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, you can get that. I mean, you can still get this thing. I still got a bunch of copies of them. $20 a month, and you get everything I talked about earlier, the ad-free stuff, and you also get the Friendo Care Package. Helps support Going In Raw. So yeah, later in the show we answer some. Actually, I'll do it right now. Give a quick shout out to some new patrons here. We've got let's see here. Oh, I shouted these ones out the other day. I thought they were new ones. Mike Van. Oh, here we go. Patrick Bennett is a new friendo on the Patreon. Mike Van Fleet, Pyro J, Chicago Lou, and Dylan Does Wrestling. Thanks everybody for supporting.
Thank you all.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Cody Rhodes.
Okay, Steve's favorite. Yeah, we can do that, I suppose.
Generational talent. Obviously, the mastermind behind AEW's glory years of creative. Now that it's fallen into the cesspool.
Hard times.
Yeah, hard times, baby. You got that right. Anyways, he has an update on his injury, and he talked to Busted Open Radio, gave an update on his recovery from that torn pectoral that blew up the internet a couple months ago when it was just festering during his Hell in a Cell match.
It was the bruising on that was enormous. It was something else.
So these transcripts come to you via our friendos over at Fightful. He said this: there's a lot of people who have had knee injuries, back injuries, sometimes spinal and neck. He says when it comes to the titty, your pec, these are his words, it's a really strange injury. They tie that sucker back to your bicep. I had Dr. Jeffrey Dugas. He's the best in the world to do it. The problem with him doing it is he knows me, and they are being very coy. I was told the last time I was there for my checkup after physical therapy, they're not going to give me a timeline just yet for when I'm going to be back because they're afraid that if they give me that timeline, I'm going to try and jump it by a month or two. The surgery was, I almost hemorrhaged in the surgery because there was so much blood. People have seen the pictures of it in the Mitch. It was pretty gnarly. End quote. So they have to.
It was pretty gnarly.
They have to play with his own expectations, and we know you better than you know yourself. We think we do know you, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, they expect him to try to pull a John Cena and be back in like 4 months.
We know that he's got adrenaline in his soul, and that might be more destructive in this case than helpful.
It could be because I'm sure Cody has the utmost confidence in his healing abilities, nonetheless. Well, then between that and his passion and desire to get back in the wrestling ring. nonetheless.
Oh yeah.
You got to take care of your body. He's his mid-30s, something like that.
Something like that.
You know,
it's when it all starts falling
anymore.
apart, man.
Got that right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was surprised after us playing basketball in the heat yesterday. I didn't feel too bad today. Not too sore.
Yeah, given that he gave like a 30% effort, I felt great. I felt pretty good. Anyways, let's talk about Impact Wrestling on the road to Emergence. Shock of all shocks, Larson. Was it just me, or did I hallucinate this? Did Honor No More actually pick up a victory over Bullet Club?
You know, it doesn't happen very often. But there's one thing you can count on. If the match really doesn't matter, then Honor No More may actually get the win.
I know they count PCO matches towards Honor No More's, but if you're like Bennett or Taven, aren't you sitting there like, hey, we're not like Honor No More? And Scott D'Amore's like, no, man, PCO got a win last week. Got a win it before that. No, but like there's like 6 more of us. Why are we eating all these losses? Well, we have to balance them out. For every PCO win, the rest of you have to take a loss.
Yeah, individually have to take a loss.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it was somewhat surprising, but they have to do that because they want to have Honor No More versus Good Brothers. I would expect for the tag titles at Emergence, which Good Brothers will probably win. So they'll get the opportunity and then fall short when the tag title opportunity presents itself.
Yeah. Let's talk about this because like not a lot happened. I mean, there wasn't like a lot of big.
It wasn't a lot of story development, but it was a really wrestle heavy show. It focused on matches, and there's a lot of long matches they gave a lot of time with, and they all were pretty good.
That Chelsea Green Mickey James match was good, man. You only need to look at that one. That was a really good match. Yeah. Macklin versus James Storm. That was a solid match. Let's talk about this really quick. I was actually pleasantly surprised at the production value on the Undead Realm segment, Larson. You know, probably the low point of Impact production over the past couple of years has been the Karate Man versus Ethan Page cinematic, which I don't know if it was purposefully. I sort of suspect that they purposefully made that.
Was that Impact production, or was that something that Ethan did himself?
So if you recall, I thought wasn't he pissed off because they did it, and I
think he was upset that they re-edited it.
Okay,
that's how I interpreted it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I figured. Well, I mean, that's kind of the same thing though. Like so you think that they took what he did, and then chopped it up or something?
Maybe.
I thought he had a problem with like the post-production, like the green screen.
Here, keep going. I got the thing about it.
That never ceases to fascinate me. So yeah, no, I thought it was really well done. They did like green screen pretty damn well. And one thing about Impact is that like sometimes Impact's production can be pretty darn good. Sometimes it could be just dog shit. Sometimes they like throw 5 different lights on people backstage during these segments, and you've got like 18,000 different shadows happening.
Okay, so yeah, it seems like that maybe they produced the whole thing.
I got the feeling, I always felt that he had shot all that stuff on his own, and then he just gave him everything, and maybe that had been what they were doing up until then, because I think he had done some stuff like that prior. And they took care of it, and then he was sitting there watching. He wrote this long Twitter thing where he's
I'm reading about that now.
Compared to that, and again, I don't know if they intentionally made that goofy because A, he was leaving, and B, I don't know what he expected. It was goofy shit anyways. He was fighting himself in the guise of Karate Man. This Undead Realm stuff I thought was pretty darn good. I thought they did a good job with the green screen. I thought, and I'm sort of interested in like what like the light area is, and Havoc's there, and she had a big goofy smile on her face.
And they did the crash zoom in on her.
Yeah,
they found her. I
know. I kind of like all this stuff. It was. I thought it was effectively goofy and yet not amateurish. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So this is what Paige said about it. It says, "I'm so embarrassed with how Impact lazily edited that segment last night and forced it to be a joke. I felt the thought of the same guys fighting each other was comedy enough, and the more serious we took it, the better the reaction would be."
Well, they decided to go in a completely different route. They went the whole Tim and Eric route, I guess.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know what he expected.
Let's talk this real quick before we get to the recap. Seems like Josh Alexander done with Violent by Design, moving on to new challengers, because after Josh and Motor City Machine Guns defeated Violent by Design last night. Chris Sabin handed, thank you, Steve, Josh Alexander the title, but didn't let go immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Shelley also eyeing the title. So then they go backstage to Scott D'Amore. Sabin makes his pitch why he should be next contender. And Scott D'Amore says, we're about opportunity here. Next week, you two will wrestle winner faces. Josh Alexander at Emergence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a good match, and then the Emergence match is going to be really good, and all my confidence points are on Josh Alexander. Mm-hmm. It's funny, they have on their so after I finished Impact last night, I was still on their YouTube channel on my television, and so I went over to like the latest retro pay-per-view they uploaded to their YouTube channel was like 2006 Turning Point. And it was great because there was like a backstage segment with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Chris Sabin, but they're all playing like an N64, and they're all acting, early 20s like they were back then. Now they're all like proper and stuff. But no, it was a trip to see that, just because like number one, like on one hand they kind of haven't changed all that much, like they're still all in the same great shape they were in. But no, it was funny to see that, because like Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt are still like working in tandem. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
They have a wealth of content over there at the Impact.
They really do.
Let's just go ahead and dive into this. Like you said, Violent by Design. They opened up with like a backstage bit where Diener was like, "Hey, Confused Cowboy, I have not heard from Eric Young. We got to go out there and do this 6-man match by ourselves." He says, "But hey, maybe this is the test. He's just trying to figure out what Eric Young wants, because Eric Young hasn't bothered to tell anybody." He says, "Maybe this is our chance to prove ourselves." And then they walk through the curtain for the match. So they make their entrance. Motor City Machine Guns make their entrance. And then Josh Alexander makes his entrance. The bell rings. And then out comes Eric Young, making my way to the ring with my cool mask on.
I finally decided to come to the ring.
It's my time now. I'm the designer of this match. So yeah.
Then towards the end, Diener tags in, and he's telling Eric Young, "I'm going to prove myself."
Yeah.
And Eric Young says, "Yeah, you better." And then Diener hits a bunch of double team offense from Motor City Machine Guns. So Eric Young tries to get in because he wants to do it himself.
I want to do it myself.
And then he eats a couple super kicks. Doring's in. He's looking for a power bomb. Instead, Alexander clotheslines him out of the ring. In the end, Shelley puts Diener in the Border City stretch. Eric Young tries to break that up. Josh Alexander puts him in the ankle lock. Diener taps. Eric Young's tapping.
And the idea was Diener decided to tap before Eric Young to prevent Eric Young from taking that loss.
Yeah.
Even though, regardless, they all look like what? Assholes.
I don't think this Violent by Design is sticking around.
No, probably not, man. After that, we had a Killer Kelly video package. Is the idea that she's like, they're taking the killer aspect of it literally, like she's a hitman? Because she was like looking through the little door peek hole and watching people as they're like going by and stuff.
Even if they're not taking that aspect of it literally, it's seemingly as inspiration for these vignettes.
These vignettes are awesome. By the way,
really well done.
They are really well done. Yeah. After that, we had Macklin versus James Storm. James Storm just sort of curious why Macklin was aligning with Moose. Macklin not giving me any answers because it's kind of none of his business. And so that led to a match. We got a match with these guys. It's a good match.
It was a solid bout. Storm's going for a last call super kick. Instead, Macklin escapes that. Storm rolls him up. When Macklin kicks out, it sends Storm into the corner. And before the roll-up, Macklin had exposed the turnbuckle there. Storm hits the exposed turnbuckle. Macklin follows with a double underhook DDT to get the win. The lights go down. They come back up. Sami Callihan's in the ring, but Macklin, anticipating that, is on the ramp.
2 steps ahead. Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
What does his jacket say? Front, forward, something?
It's like Ron War something. I don't know. Like it says front, but like too often the F and the T are obscured. Because
same with forward. Yeah.
And so it just says Ron.
Yeah. It's true.
Ron Ward.
Yeah.
Something
like that. Enforcer says front area man.
It says Ron area man. After that, the Motor City Machine Guns walk up to Scott D'Amore backstage. He's like, Scott, Saban's like, Scott, thank you, Larson. When I handed Joshua that Impact title, oh man, I got hard. No, he says, I felt something in my soul. It was not adrenaline. He says, Joshua would have never gotten that Impact title if it wasn't for me. I suggested option C for him. He said, consider that, check, when determining the next contender. And Scott says, oh man, Saban, Impact is all about opportunities, but they're not given, they're earned. And he says, that's what I'm going to give you next week. Both you and this guy here, Alex Shelley, are Impact OGs. So next week, y'all are going to fight each other to determine not only the Impact #1 contender, but the future of wrestling. And because now I think Chris Sabin is the lineal future of wrestling champion.
I think so. So that's the title that he should defend. Against someone else that's also been at Impact for 20 years.
Somebody else who's 40 years old plus.
Exactly.
And then, so that match is going to happen next week.
Yep, it should be good. Then we got Chelsea Green versus Mickie James. This is a really fun bout. The finish of this one saw Chelsea. So Mickie is going for like a sharpshooter or something, I think, and Chelsea kicks out her leg, falls with a stomp, covers, but when she covers, she grabs a handful of tights, which seemed kind of like she probably didn't need to do that. It's a stomp after all.
Yeah.
And the ref sees it, calls off the cover. So then Chelsea's looking for an unprettier. Mickie escapes that, rolls up Chelsea, gets a 2. Chelsea's looking for another stomp. Mickie escapes. Chelsea hits a kick. Mickie hits a kick of her own, looks for a DDT, and then Chelsea escapes and then rolls up Mickie with her feet on the ropes. And that was a really good roll-up with feet on the ropes.
It was. I agree. I noticed that too.
It was deep. And like the angle, because usually they just put their shoulders over the legs and stack them up, put their feet in the ropes. But it was like she had her body in a completely different position. It was great.
And the way the ref was positioned, it made sense for him not to see it.
Yep.
Yeah. This was I would definitely recommend checking out this match. I thought it was really good. They gave it a ton of time. After that, we had Rosemary and Taya going to the Undead Realm. Taya shows up with a shirt that says, it didn't say pure evil, it said purr evil, like a cat.
Like cat purrs.
And she was like, hey, this is appropriate attire. She's like, I don't care about your fashion, so it doesn't matter. And so Rosemary says, we got to follow these directions to get to the Undead Realm to the letter. She says, well, it'll keep you safe if you follow them. She said, we got to go get Havoc, then we get out of there. And then they teleport to the Undead Realm, and it's very dark, and it's sort of woodsy. Yes. And so a bright light starts following Taya. And Rosemary was like, dude, don't go to the light. She had said this earlier. She said, don't go to the light. She goes to the light because light, the idea is very warm. It's very inviting. You want beckoning. To go to the light. Yes. Beckoning. Dang, that's a great word. So she goes in there, but Rosemary doesn't follow. But she goes and she finds Havoc. Havoc's there in the light. So back to Rosemary. She's like, oh, crap, Taya's gone. But then she's like, oh, I got to get. And she goes into the bright light, but it hurts her. She's like, because she's the undead. She's like, I don't want to go into this light. So she goes in there and they find Havoc and Taya. And says, oh, I've seen you've met Jessica. And then camera crash zooms on Havoc.
It did a dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, those were always great. Those were always awesome.
Yeah, can't go wrong with a dun, dun, dun. Then we had a Brian Myers interview. Bhupinder steps up to him and says, hey, I beat Johnny Swinger on being the Impact. I want a title shot. And Brian Myers says, oh, I didn't promise you a title shot. I said we'd figure this out. A lot of people want a title shot. You know, you got a good look to you, but come back to me when you got that blue check mark.
Yeah, I like it because Myers is sticking to the spirit of the Digital Media Championship. You need to be verified somewhere. You know, you got to be verified for you to be a legit. That's why Rich Swann couldn't handle it because he didn't have the blue check mark. He wasn't verified anywhere.
Yeah, I think he has a Twitter account that he hasn't posted on since like 2018. But
he probably does have a blue check mark because of WWE, huh?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That's kind of shocking. Well, Twitter wasn't a thing in 2018. Anyways,
that's not true. But all right.
After that, one of my favorite current factions is the Influence. They're a mess. And one of my favorite current women's wrestlers anyways, is Masha Slamovich.
She is great.
She is awesome. So yeah, the influence comes out, and they're just having their entrance isn't even on the same page. Giselle Shaw has no idea what she's doing. She does her own pose, and they're like, "Why are you doing that?" They don't want to be there, but she sort of roped them into this Masha Slamovich stuff. It's like we gave you a shot here to be part of the influence, and you're just bringing bad tides here, man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So anyway, Sasha gets so this is it was Tenille Dashwood versus Masha Slamovich, and of course Masha just completely rolls her over. The influencer hapless, they can't do anything. They're terrified of Masha, and Masha hits the snowplow, which is my favorite finisher name right now.
No, it's great.
It's a fucking cool move too.
It is. It is. So then we get a Mike Bailey interview. They show footage of Violent by Design attacking him and Alan Angels after their bout last week. Bailey says that he's been thinking about Diener, and he said that he'd be willing to defend the X Division championship against anyone who wanted to fight for it. He said if Diener wanted my attention, all he had to do was say something. I'd be more than happy to have a match against him. In fact, I will be doing that next week.
That'll be a good match too, man.
It will be. I mean, if Mike Bailey's in the bout, you're guaranteed a good bout.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Better than good.
Great.
After that, we had a Mickie James interview. She's pretty down, and she's like, yeah, you know what they say. You're only as good as your last match. She says, I'm going home. I'm going to go think about what my next match is going to be.
Yeah, she didn't seem too happy. And then we had our main event, Honor No More versus Bullet Club, Good Brothers.
The
Chris
Devil. No, they use the actual Bullet Club theme.
Yeah, they use the actual Bullet Club theme. And Ace Austin finished this, saw Good Brothers looking for a magic killer on Matt Taven. Maria low blows Gallows. And then Kenny King hits Carl Anderson with a blockbuster off the top rope. Ed Edwards hits Gallows with a Boston Knee Party. Then Taven falls with a splash off the top to get the win.
Get the win. The Deviled Eggs. Didn't win this time. Yeah.
Nope.
No, Gallows ate that pin. Yeah, man. We also had an NXT UK where after, what was it, 260 some odd days or something like that?
It was a solid reign.
For Noam Dar, we have a new Heritage Cup champion. I really love how they set this up with Shaw Samuels, banned from ringside, forced to watch the action go down on a monitor backstage, and his 100-1 odds against against Mark Coffey, putting him in some dire straits, man.
You got that right.
I thought this was great, and the match itself was absolutely phenomenal. We saw at the end of it during the post-match celebration, we saw the return of his brother, Joe Coffey, who shockingly didn't turn on him immediately.
Give it time. I'm telling you, first defense probably that Mark has, Joe's going to cost him that trophy.
So
mark my words.
You think this thing's gonna be gone that quickly? You
Mark
don't think Joe's gonna want a piece of that action? He thinks he could beat his brother. Why wouldn't he do that instead?
Don't know.
Wait, did you look ahead? Did you look at spoilers?
No.
All right. So you think he's going to cost him the cup, not go after the cup?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you have special insight because you have an older brother. So you're in the Mark Coffey role. What has your brother cost you out of jealousy?
Oh, my dignity. I don't know. Nothing as tangible as a trophy or a cup, but
yeah, okay, all right, fair enough.
I'm sure in our younger days, he cost me some patience, a lot of things.
Didn't he almost take your eye? Didn't you guys have like
no? That was a dog. That was a dog that almost.
That was a dog that almost.
Our family
they're like
dog.
Family, yeah.
That almost bit me. That did bite me in the face and almost.
You
bit
and
me
dogs,
in the
man.
Yeah, we don't. I don't have the best of luck. This twice in my life I've been. I mean, it was in this case. It was a family dog, but as I got older, there was a dog loose in the neighborhood, and I was like, "Oh, I think I recognize this dog. I'll try to get it back to its owner." And that dog went nothing to me.
Yeah,
tried to bite me right here.
Yeah, man. Ooh.
And I dodged it, but then the process fell and hit my head on the concrete.
I remember, dude. You came back. You had the rib tape going and everything. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't that, but I sprained my wrist. That's what hurt worse.
Oof, that sucks.
You try to do something good, and then...
I hope you learned a lesson that day. Never try to do anything good.
Yeah. No, I did. Keep to myself now.
When you see a stray dog, kick it.
Well, no, because in case of this dog, which I think it was a boxer, it would have antagonized it more.
Oh man, yeah, he'd have got the bloodlust.
Because the deal was, and I should have known better. I should have called somebody to deal with this, not deal with it. Because there was kids like riding their bikes out in the street, and this dog was chasing after him, barking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, that's
at the same time. But at the same time, I didn't want like other kids to be scared. I thought I knew where this dog, who the owners were.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns out I didn't, because after that incident, I went and talked to the owner. I was like, "Hey, was your dog loose the other day?" And they go, "No." So,
given that this was a street fight, was the dog wearing jeans?
No, but to be fair to the dog, neither was I that day.
All right, you both violated the terms of a street fight.
Maybe
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he attacked
you. Maybe if it was an impromptu street fight, I don't know if the jeans are a necessary aspect of it.
That's a good point. You surprised that Oliver Carter got this win over Teo Man?
Yeah, I was really surprised.
That was kind of nuts, huh?
I mean, Teo Man would be getting a push, pretty significant push, I thought.
Why didn't they go the other way? Like the scrub of the group, Rohan. Is it Rohan Raju? Is that his name? Raja.
No,
Raja.
It's Raja.
Raja. He should have been first. He stepped up first last week. He was like, "I'm gonna take you down, man." And then
Teo Man's like, "No, I defend the family.
I defend us." And then it's like he's got the numbers game. He's got two dudes with him.
I know. Carter took care of all that.
Like it was nothing.
Beat Teo Man.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's a bit surprising.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, given that Carter and Ashton, had to vacate the tag titles, I understand why they want to have continue booking Carter strong.
He's a good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler.
He is a good wrestler. You don't want to take all the momentum that he and Ashton had just gotten, and unfortunately, having to vacate the tag titles. You want to just give that up.
Yeah, right.
You want to see what you could do. I guess now, circumstances kind of dictated that you got to see what you could do with Oliver Carter as a solo wrestler. I think he's definitely up to the task of being a solo star.
Yeah,
he's got charisma. He's good in the ring.
Yeah,
the crowd's behind him. So yeah, you got to push him. I get that.
I have to divorce him. I have to emotionally detach myself from De Familia. I love those guys so much, but man, between losing the tag title match to Briggs and Jensen, and now Teo Man, the leader.
Talk about a faction on the same page. When they're all out there, they all do different things.
Not in their entrance.
They're not a cohesive unit. I've been telling you this forever, and you don't listen to me.
No, I get it. I mean, that doesn't mean that whether or not they work well as a group together is not a priority for me. Look at you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think they're cool. They got those cool vignettes. I like their entrance. I like their first entrance better, where they would line up like they were school children.
They just stand there and do the different poses.
Yeah,
it shows off their differences more than their unity.
It's like three creator wrestlers that somebody just put together in an entrance, but they didn't really like do the entrance. Like they didn't sync up their entrances. Yeah. No, I think they're cool. I'm actually legitimately. Two of the dudes, like Rohan's cool and everything, or Raja's cool and everything, but friggin' Charlie Dempsey he should be huge in like 5 years. Mm-hmm. He is fucking awesome.
He's a really good wrestler.
And Teo, man, he's got the look. He's got that thing, that camera thing.
He's a really good wrestler too.
And he's just a phenomenally good wrestler. That's the main reason I like them. But yeah, they're a mess. I don't know. Sadly, if it came to De Familia, at the WWE Impact Forbidden Door versus Honor No More.
Oh yeah,
it'd be like
taking that L.
Like what's the match where both teams lose?
Oh, like a double count out?
I guess so. Yeah.
Double DQ.
So, anyways, Oliver Carter gets the win here over Teo Man. He's able to fend off the efforts of De Familia pretty easily, but after the match, they beat the shit out of him, and Teo Man hits Carter with the evil eye. So
it's a hell of a finish too. That's a great move.
Yeah.
This next bit was great. Sam Gradwell is about to do an interview at the Performance Center in United Kingdom. He calls Trent the dirt worst, and then Trent jumps into frame and attacks him.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting chased off by some of the trainers there.
Yeah. Sam Gradwell, what do you think about Trent Seven? Oh, he's the dirt worst, and then whoop-ah.
And then Trent just leaps in.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Tackles him. It was great.
Yeah. After that, we had a Fallon Henley interview. She says her time in the UK has been outstanding, and you get creepy Isla Dawn back there just, snickering at her. And she's like, okay, listen, dude, your creepy shtick isn't going to work on me. Go somewhere else. You're being weird. And Isla's like, oh.
Yeah. So that's a match that's going to happen.
Yep.
Then we have Dave Mastiff walking up to Josh Morrell. Dave's like, hey, good win last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're probably riding high right now, yeah? Well, guess what? You're going to fall and crash next week when you face me.
Oh, man, you were saying something nice, and now you're being rude.
And then Josh says, I'm going to give you everything I got in the ring. And Dave says, good.
Yeah. See, this is the thing, though. That's the thing. Like, Oliver Carter should be beating guys like Mastiff or Jack Stars or, even God.
No, I get that. They probably should have started the feud between Carter and D. Familia with Raja and then built up to the match against Taya.
Well,
I agree.
Nigel said that chances are, Oliver's going to get 2 more matches now against the other guys. He's just going to run through D. Familia the way Noam Dar ran through fucking Gallus.
Maybe.
Anyways, after that, we had Wolfgang. He's outside kicking a football against a wall. It's just Wolfgang.
Yeah. It reminds me when I was a kid and I used to set up a piece of wood against our garage to throw a tennis ball against. And
then your brother would come over and like pants you or something?
No, he never pantsed me.
Oh, well, that's nice of him. So anyways, he's asked about the comments Ilya made about him. He says, yeah, it's flattering because Ilya respects me. How can you not respect somebody like the Tsar? I respect him. He respects me. He says, but Ilya needs to be careful what he wishes for. He says, people need to remember who Wolfe is. He says, somebody needs to take that title from him. Why not me? And then he takes his ball and he leaves.
Yep.
Yep. He looked like a 12-year-old bouncing the ball, walking away.
Now, the worst is when I threw the tennis ball against the piece of wood and it was angled in such a way the ball would bounce, go off there and go across the street. So the tennis ball would bounce, so sometimes it might end up in the neighbor's yard or over the fence, even if I threw it really hard.
Oh, yeah. Were you guys on good terms with your neighbors? Could you just climb the fence?
No. Because we were getting stuff over there all the time.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, stay out of my yard.
Yeah, if that ball went over there, that was gone.
Oh, wow.
Gone.
After that, we had Stevie Turner versus Amel. What was more notable about this? Blair Davenport was on commentary, just talking shit. Amel got the win here with a Hope Breaker, but I feel like Amel, the French Hope, is going to lose hope against Blair Davenport.
Doesn't have a whole lot of hope against Blair
Davenport.
Go. I think you're right there.
Yeah.
Then we got Mako and Saray with Amelia McKenzie backstage, and Saray is talking about how happy she is that she got a tag with Mako, but she says, the next person I want to face is you.
Ooh. And then Nina,
They walk off together, and then Nina Samuel steps in. Her music plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's an impromptu episode of the Nina Samuel show.
She's got her mic, and she goes to Amelia and says, what were they talking about? And Amelia just says, nothing to do with you.
And I just want to say, Amelia, you don't know what they were talking about, do you? And you're kind of on the outside looking in. You're kind of wondering, how do you get yourself out of this mentor-protege relationship that doesn't seem to be working out too well for you because you keep getting your ass handed to you by these new kids from the U.S.
Yep. I'm surprised it's not Fallon Henley versus Amelia McKenzie next week.
I know. Well, Ilya. Isla Dawn's taking that loss next week.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. True. It's so weird, but that's just how it is. After that, oh my God, talk about two guys on such a different page. When I saw these two guys, you know what I thought, Larson? I was like, this would be akin to you and the Fair Oaks Heckler being a tag team all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because you're like Mark Andrews, you're like a normal guy, and there's this toothless guy next to him going, I get the dub. And then, so Mark says, Briggs and Jensen are an awesome team. He says, but it's time for us to bring the titles back to the UK, and we're going to be the first team waiting to take that loss. And then Wild Boar's like, bleh, bleh.
Well, it's funny because Wild Boar was doing bleh, bleh, but he was like saying, hey, let's bring those titles back home. It wasn't like he was saying anything, like he wasn't talking crap.
Yeah, right. Briggs. He has like the one tooth that he can use to make the sound. That was actually more fascinating to me because I was looking at that one tooth and I was like, oh, it's kind of, I'm kind of like, how do you say all your words with that one tooth? Because you need that for the tongue barrier.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
After that,
Sid Scala makes the Ilya and Wolfgang match official. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Everything happens in 2 weeks. And the fortnight.
2 weeks.
It's the fortnight.
Yes.
They don't really use that term over here. The fortnight.
No, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks, man.
Well, I mean, if you hear fortnights in relation to the video game.
That is absolutely, they do totally use that term, but it's a video game, yeah.
It's a video game, yeah.
I'm assuming that they have that video game in the UK, obviously. But does anybody ever get confused when they're like, hey, I'm going to go.
Night's spelt differently.
It is, but like verbally, oh, I'm going to go play Fortnite. You're going to play in 2 weeks? No, the game, Fortnite, 2 weeks.
Are you going to play the game in 2 weeks?
No, right now, Fortnite.
So what are you going to do in 2 weeks?
And it just goes on and on like that.
Yeah, exactly. Then we got main event, Mark Coffey versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. Awesome bout. Go check it out. Go out of your way to check this out. So Shaw has to watch backstage. So they got like other trainers in their corner to prep him between rounds. So Mark Coffey takes the first fall in round 2, locking on the gator lock. Dar taps pretty quick. And then throughout round 3, Noam is working over Mark Coffey's leg. He sets up for a Nova roller. Right as time is running out in round 3, and he's actually in the process of charging Mark Coffey to hit it. Ref has to step in front of him to stop it.
Yeah.
Noam finally ties it up early round 4, locking on a knee bar. Coffey has to tap. No one gets a fall round 5. And then with about 16 seconds left in round 6, Mark Coffey hits his sliding forearm to get the win, and then Shaw runs to the ramp, and he takes his jacket off. He's throwing pound notes everywhere. He gets on the ground, and he and Dar are trying to console each other. And Wolfgang leads the locker room out to celebrate with Mark, but then they all pull out their betting slips, and they want Shaw to pay up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oof. And he's like, oh, don't, I gotta go. And they all just stalk him out of the BT Sports arena. Yeah. So yeah. After that, Joe Coffey shows up on the ramp.
Teleports almost.
Yeah. He gets in the ring. Mark's super happy to see him. They go, oh, and I was expecting a whoop-ah. No
Just
whoop-ah.
Yep.
Didn't happen.
No, they hugged.
It's going to happen.
It will. It will.
So I stopped by the old P.O. box today, Larson.
Ooh.
We've got some mail.
Exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff. If you want to, we have a thread also on the YouTube community, the Stephen Larson YouTube community thing. If you want to, while I open this up, because otherwise there's going to be noise of this.
It'll be quiet, yeah. So, Edge T, which NXT UK star would you want to hang out with at the pub?
Okay, let's take Wolfgang out of it because he's the obvious answer.
He's the obvious choice, but he's also kind of the obvious choice for the person you wouldn't want to. Just see what happened to Damon Kemp.
Yeah,
I don't want to get that drunk anymore.
Here's the thing, though. I'm down every once in a while. I'd make an exception for I gotta go get like a thing. I'd make an exception in that case. I feel like we probably have more of a tolerance than Damon because he's an athlete. Like that dude probably does not drink a whole lot. And I'm not saying I do or anything, but
I really don't anymore either.
Probably more than he does. And I think that could be wild. That could be a lot of fun. I'd get shit faced with Wolfie. I'd get pissed.
Fair enough.
With Wolfie. I'm gonna grab a knife real quick.
All right, very well. Anime egotists. If Roderick Strong ends up leaving, who should be added to the Diamond Mine? As a de facto leader. It could be a wrestler or manager, but it can't be Wolfgang. You know, I think if Diamond Mine were just the Creeds and Ivy and Damon, I think that'd be pretty cool.
What was the question?
You know, if Roddy leads Diamond Mine, who should they bring in as the leader? And I was just saying, I think Creeds, Ivy, and Damon Kemp as Diamond Mine would be pretty neat.
Yeah. They should be like a faction with no leader, man. I feel like they're all They all know what they're doing as a group.
Exactly.
Most groups, I don't really think like in terms of like friends groups and stuff like that. You don't really need a leader. You know what they should do? They should bring in like a legend of some sort to just sort of, mentor them and give them tips, but not to lead them,
Yeah.
just to sort of root them on. So this is from Brie Marie.
Oh.
Can we get Brie Marie's been around for a long time. Can we get a Brie Marie mode, Larson?
Brie Marie mode.
Perfect. You know what she sent us last time? The Amalgam comic book. The Amalgam Universe. Oh, look at this. Oh, I'm excited about this. There's something else in here. Look at this. Oh, and there's two of them, too. One for you, one for me. 55th anniversary of Star Trek Magazine.
Oh, wow.
Which one do you want, Kirk or Spock? I feel like I'm the Kirk and you're the Spock.
Yeah, that sounds like an apt analogy, yes.
That is awesome. Look at this. This is great.
Thank you. That's so cool.
That's terrific. I think there's something else in here, too. Oh, what is this? Oh, man. This is cool. Hold on a second. Oh, nice. Two of these, too. I keep on dropping everything.
Oh, my goodness.
So, check these out. There's some keychains in here, too. Some J's.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at that. It's Oakland A's colors, too.
Perfect.
Got this one right here. I got a pair of those, a different colorway.
Oh, that's cool.
I got that right there. We got, oh, look at this. Wolfpack colors.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then here's a little card. It says Steven Larson.
Oh.
Oh, man, look at this little, it says hello.
Hello.
It says, hey, Steven Larson, just wanted to show some appreciation for y'all and send a little something. Thank y'all for all the content you guys are always putting out. It's always the highlight of my day. Also, the pay-per-view watch-alongs and Smash Zone have become my favorite things ever. Two sweet friendos, Brie Marie. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Brie.
much.
That's
Thank
so
you.
nice.
Thank you.
What a lovely package that was.
Thank you. That is awesome. Nikyle here asked, if you had to choose one classic SummerSlam match to watch, which one do you recommend a friendo to watch? You cannot choose the same match. Do you want to choose first? What SummerSlam match?
SummerSlam match. Okay. I know mine.
All right, go ahead.
It's Brett versus the Bulldog.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because going back and listening to him talk about the circumstances around that match make it more interesting to watch.
I do Cena and AJ from SummerSlam 2016.
That's a good one.
It's one of the best matches I've ever got to watch in person.
Oh, wow,
so
look
good.
at this. So this is from Naomi Rosenblum, who may, I don't know, let's see, there might be a little card or note in here, because oh, here we go, there is. What's this? Let's see here. It says, hello, I hope you enjoy your prints of CM Punk and Suzuki. Please let me know if you ever need anything, from Naomi.
Oh,
So
wow.
does Naomi have, hold on a second, I'm sort of, sometimes I recognize the name, sometimes I don't. Oh, it's got a little certificate of authenticity, too.
Wow.
That's cool. Oh, Naomi's the artist. Okay, Naomi's actually the artist.
Super cool.
Here. That's cool. Here, I want to take a look at these. These are neat. I'll make sure I don't mess it up. All right, so here's the Punk one. Look at that.
Oh, wow. That's
Isn't
super
that
cool.
That's neat. And then, so that'll be mine, because I know you're a big Suzuki fan. Oh, wow, Larson, look at this.
Oh,
one.
wow.
Look at
that
that.
is amazing.
Isn't that great?
Is so cool.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So I'll see if Naomi might have like a Instagram or something, or a shop or something. That's fantastic.
Yeah, those are really good. Really good.
I don't know. I mean, I assume she's a friendo, but maybe a friendo had this sent on our on their behalf. I don't know. So I'll have to see if we can get more info. If Naomi's around, please tweet at us.
Yes.
Or hit us up on the Instagram.
Yes, please. Michael Petrowski, what is a wrestling theme that has you singing at the top of your lungs every time you hear it? Oh, it's Kaze Nina Ray.
Kaze Nina Ray.
It's the best wrestling theme ever.
So this right here, while you continue on, this is from Josh McKittrick. Wait, what was the question again? What's the best wrestling theme song?
That has you singing at the top of your lungs.
Oh.
What you sing along with.
Oh, so that's your answer. Mine is probably... I'll be honest, the Gallus theme song still pops me big time.
That's a good one.
Whenever I get to see, and the Tron for that is so cool. It's just slow motion, them just peacocking. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Another theme question here. Mayor Planet Houston, what is your favorite bad wrestling theme? Listen, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler ever.
Yeah.
I love his theme, but it's objectively not good. It's not a good theme.
Yeah, right.
It's iconic. It's great in the sense that he sings it.
Yeah.
But it's not a good theme song.
So I might get some static for this, but my favorite bad wrestling theme, because I don't think there's any chance in hell I'd ever listen to this if it wasn't a wrestling theme, but Kane's Slow Chemical.
Oh, that's got a catchy melody at least.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But it's the kind of music that I would kind of cringe in terms of listening to. It's definitely, for me, you know what it is? It's guilty pleasure music, because I've listened to certain things kind of like that. I remember the band, what were they called? They're named after an Alice in Chains song. I'm not the one who's so far away.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck,
Godsmack.
Godsmack. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of embarrassed liking that stuff. But some of it I liked. Some of it I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Jason Lewis, would you rather be the worst member of a great faction or the best member of a terrible one? Oh, I'd rather be the worst member of a great faction. Because then at least you're a member of a great faction.
Or the best member of a terrible one. Yeah, I'd rather be associated with the NWO
than Right to Censor.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or Retribution.
Yeah. So this is from Josh McKittrick. Says, here's a little gift from everyone in the Friendo universe. We really appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.
That looks heavy.
Not that heavy.
Oh, all right.
Oh, I know what this is, because I think he sent me a picture of it, or really we communicated. This is fucking cool.
Yeah?
This is really cool. So, apropos to this episode, earlier in the episode, I talked about what you can get for $20 on the Patreon. The comic book.
Yeah.
This is a CGC graded version of our comic book, graded at 9.2, Larson. That is especially fucking cool for me, the comic book nerd. This is amazing. This is absolutely really fucking cool.
Oh, that is really funny.
It's a graded version of the comic book.
Oh, great.
That is special. That is absolutely
awesome.
special. Thank you so much. Oh,
this is an interesting question from Blake Whitehouse. Would Andre the Giant have the same reaction as Omos if he debuted today? Andre, in his early days, was a surprisingly nimble wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, if you go back and look at Andre matches from like 68, 69, stuff like
early
that.
Early 70s, yeah.
That dude was like Zack Sabre Jr. It was bizarre to see like a guy that big do his moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and Andre always had that natural presence and charisma.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, boss.
Luis Areza asking, who are the contenders for Going in Raw's Baron Corbin Award this year?
Oh man, I know we have some. Chat might know better than us, or Enforcer might know better than us. Von Wagner. Yeah. Honestly, like half the people in NXT, I feel like. Cameron Grimes. I feel like Dick Togo is probably like last year. Like because you've come around to House of Torture. Like
once they Jorge D might have it. Honor No More.
Honor No More. It's 1,000% Honor No More.
Yeah, it's Honor No More.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely Honor No More. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks, everybody, so much. I'm just sitting here looking at this thing, man.
That's so cool.
That is really cool.
That is amazing.
That's going to do it for... Oh, Daddy Magic. Yeah, that's a good one. Daddy Magic. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back. Man, we're going to be... This weekend's going to be interesting because the Enforcer's going to be here. So I'm almost positive we're going to do some streaming with him tomorrow from here at the homestead. And then, we'll be back on Monday with the news episode. So keep an eye for our Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson.
Oh,
And
we're playing some Grand Theft Auto Online today at about
we
2:30. Yeah.
are. That's right. At the Twitch, and also twitch.tv/MFSteve here is going to be where my screen's going to be at. And then, Karen says, best of luck with the G1 brackets. Our G1 preview is available right now. G1 starts tonight.
Yep.
Tomorrow
You gotta get your picks in, Steve. Did you finish that?
morning. I am going to finish it right after we're done with this, but I've got
There we go.
I've got a lot of them in. I need to get the most of the other ones in. So, anyways, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald, here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.